Welcome all of you, and now we are going to start with J2E overview. And here you will see how to start task with J2E. But I hope in last video what you learned that I am expecting you have idea only 20% to 25% what J2E will do. But after this video, after next 5-7 minute video, you will get more idea how actually J2E is going to work. So here inside the complete overview, if I try to provide the features, so one feature is your middleware, that is your main server. That server will take a request from you, will pass request to database, will take response from database, and that response it will return to you. You can assume this server like a middleware between you and actual database. Behind the server, you are having one very important technology called Servlet. Servlet is responsible to take a request and to give response. Means behind the Tomcat server, Servlet will take request and will give response to you. So here one feature is your middleware, means that is your application server, means you can say like your servlet here. After that, here you can create with the help of this one, you can use multiple devices, and you can miss this server what you are talking, that is a single entry point. Without that you cannot enter into J2E application. If you want to enter into J2E application, you only have to go through this server. Plus here there are n number of server provider, like suppose IBM is there, IBM introduced their web space server, your Red Hat introduced JBoss, Apache introduced your Tomcat, BA introduced WebLogic, Sun introduce your Glassfish or Sun App server. Like that, n number of servers are available. But in this training, you will go through only the Tomcat server. I will explain in your Eclipse how you will design. I think in last week you have seen how to start task with Eclipse IDE. So here I will show you in Eclipse how to design your server, how to configure server, how to start writing your code, and how to execute the code. So here now I'm fully ready to enter inside the web server. If you will see in this picture, so I have a web server, and behind the web server I have web container. As I told you, means this server is maintaining all the component inside the container. Containers is like a bucket. So in your bucket there are two type of boxes. One box name is Servlet and second box name is JSP. So inside the web container, what your Tomcat server will execute, will maintain, there are the two component. One is Servlet, second is JSP. Both you can use to take request and to return response. Nowadays industry is not using JSP too much. Industry is only dependent on Servlet. Why? I will explain little later. Purpose of this web container is to take request and to give response. It is like a receptionist, means a receptionist is taking request and giving response. In the same way here, if you will see, if anyone asks you to start Servlet, why server is using only Servlet to return response. Suppose I am giving one example. Might we have remember, if you are sending, if you are writing your ID password in Facebook, you are getting your timeline page. If I will write my ID password, I will get my timeline page. In the same way, multiple user, if they will write their ID password, they will get their own timeline page. So question is here, how server is creating that much pages, that much HTML pages behind the scene? Our server is having that much pages? Answer is no. Server is creating those pages, those timeline pages depends on Servlet. Servlet is responsible to generate those pages. This is the reason we are saying why server is using Servlet, because Servlet is responsible to generate dynamic web pages depends on different request response. So here you can say it is a Java program. If anyone asks you what is Servlet, you can say Servlet is server-side technology using Java language to generate dynamic web pages, dynamic content. In the same way here, if you will see, if anyone asks you to build a servlet, and if you are going to build servlet, then what type of other features servlet can get from the container. So you can see all the security what are available in containers that servlet can take. Session management, servlet can maintain session across the multiple user. It can maintain persistency of your data. It can maintain persistency means permanent storage of your object. It can maintain. It platform and server independent. It is fully server independent. It is not you will create one servlet so that only will work in Tomcat. That servlet you can use with WebLogic, you can use with WebSphere, with any. It is available and running on all major web server and application server. Means once you will create and you can execute servlet with any. So here, if I try to explain now, this picture will give a very clear view. Means as a web client, you have your HTML page. From there, you will send your username, password of Facebook, and behind the scenes, servlet will take your request, which are part of web container, and web container is part of J2E application server, means Tomcat. It will take your request and will return response to you. So hope this picture is giving a very clear idea. Now in last video what you have seen, you was having 25%. Now it is very clear. Oh, what J2E will provide? J2E will take your request and will return response to you. And this J2E is running on different server, and behind the server there are a container, behind the container there are a component. So see here, now inside the application server, if you will see inside the web container, how many phases are there. If any client request will come, how many phases are there inside the servlet. So first server is loading servlet, then it is instantiating servlet, means creating object of servlet, then initializing the servlet, means calling that servlet constructor or initialization process, then taking the request. After taking the request, executing the request, and finally returning response to client. So here same servlet, now you have divided into a 5 part, means how servlet is going to work. In the same way, if you will see here, this is little broader picture. As a client, you are having pure HTML, means your browser, applet, different Java application, J2E client, many. And inside the web server, you have JSP or servlet, that is your web tier. And for business logic, there in future, I will use as a business logic, I will use any EJB application. This is out of the scope of this training. You only have to learn JSP and servlet in this training. So using JSP and servlet only, we will interact with database, and after that we'll get the result. But this is one broader architecture of your servlet. So here, up to this stage, I hope you all are comfortable. If anyone asks you what is the role of servlet, how server is working, so you all will be able to explain nicely. Hope comfortable. Thank you.